What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the show. The juice is loose. Finally got it done. Sorry I haven't posted a lot of videos lately on the Bronco build. I was just hammered crunch for time. Some guys made a bet against me that I couldn't get it done or drivable for a ride that was coming up that was put on by a good friend of mine, Sean. He put on basically Mr. Sean's wild ride of Stero Beach to San Quintin and back. That'll be in a whole nother video. A lot of fun, a lot of great food, just beautiful scenery. Nowhere else can you drive your off-road rig down the coast of Baja and have a blast and not get a ticket or thrown in jail. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna briefly go over the Bronco build, and it's not completely done. As you can see, my rear fenders are still in the backyard, my hood is still in the backyard, yeah, I finished this the morning of the trip, and never test drove it, didn't align it. I eyeballed everything. I just kind of got everything as close as I could, steering wise, alignment wise. Didn't know if my motor was gonna work, nothing. The girlfriend and I, we hopped in it Thursday morning. I finished it. So quick recap, the Bronco was rolling Wednesday night, but I still had a ton of stuff to do. I had torque bolts, Loctite, pinstripe, all that shit. Called a buddy, my buddy Steve. He came over, helped me Loctite the whole front end. Basically just went through the whole front end, took everything apart, cleaned it, Loctited the bolts. He left it, I think, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I stayed up till about 2 a.m. doing some other stuff, went to bed, took a nap, and then got back up at 5 a.m. and I basically built this little rack right here so I could hold my tire, my tools, my liquids. My cooler goes right here. I'm gonna put a link to that because that cooler was bitching. It's made by Igloo. It was $100 and it worked rad. So I did that, made this at 5 a.m. in the morning, loaded up everything, and we met the guys down at the Chevron on Palm at about 10 o'clock. I test drove it. I drove it around the block 3 or 4 times, made sure the brakes were good, broke the gears in, let it cool down, and then literally drove the Bronco down to Ensenada to Estero Beach, did another 300 miles all the way down the coast, off-roaded it, beat the piss out of it moderately. I didn't want to like break my shit, and then drove it back up, then sat in a 5.5 hour borderline wait, and then drove it all the way back home from Thursday to Monday. So that says a lot about the suspension and everything that was on here. I want to give a few quick shout outs to some guys that helped out a lot. One is Ohhchofab. He's the one that's in charge of the beams and steering and stuff like that. McNeil Racing, they did the link, or not, I'm sorry, not the link, but the spring under kit in the rear. This is their spring mounts, their pivots and stuff like that. This is their shock towers, and then also Eisenhower brothers, Nick and Chris. They did I'm gonna span the camera around. They did a phenomenal job on the rear end. They ran the brake lines. They didn't do the vent. That actually, I had to zip tie it up. It fell, started rubbing. So, but I didn't break anything. But you can see their brake line job. So Camburg full floater housing. I'm running. So these are 37s, Yokohama Geolanders, XATs, 37 1250 17s on a set of Method 17-inch rims, actual bead lock, and I'm running 514 gears. So on the freeway I was doing about between 70 and 75 at 2500 RPM. Not too shabby. I mean, it's doable. Got excellent gas mileage. But yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to those guys. They were a huge help. Andrew, or Cho is what they call him. I must have called him 100 times, and if he didn't answer, he texted back and asked me what was going on. He helped me out hugely. Just tech questions and, you know, little tips and stuff like that. So that to me, and I think to anybody, speaks a lot. When the guy stands behind his product. I mean, that's his livelihood. You know, if he turned out a shitty product, he wouldn't be making any money and be out of business. So really good job. I had nothing bad to say about his beams and everything. They turned out bitchin'. McNeil Racing, like I said, they did the shock towers. Get a peek in here. Let me see if I can. You can kind of see everything turned out pretty good. I made my own bump can mounts. I bumped them off of the top of the radius rod. Everything worked. I only scrubbed one damn time. That's because I caught a rut and it jerked the wheel out of my hand, and yeah, that kind of hurt. So that's the only time it scrubbed. I need to weld some knuckle stops on there so that the wheels won't turn that far, but yeah, everything worked bitchin'. Converted the hubs over to manual. I did have auto hubs on there. I'll show you guys. If you guys want to do that, get rid of the auto hubs. Here's the part numbers. You can kind of see here. I'll just kind of scroll in. Those are the part numbers you need right there. So the 20990 for the mount hub lock, and then for the spindle nut kit, it's the 32720 from Warren, and that way you can get rid of those shitty hub lock, automatic hub locks. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop the hood, and as you can tell, it's still filthy because we just got back and I had to go right to work. But you know, it's nothing like running Baja with your air conditioning on, you know, and staying clean. I bragged about it the whole trip. But give you a quick rundown. I'm gonna start from front and then go to the back. So these are McNeil fiberglass. Held up pretty good. I broke the other side though. I'll show you that. I trimmed the stock bumper kind of to follow the line a little bit. I set my bump stops up to where the 37 would basically stuff in there without hitting anything else. Yeah, I think I only sacrificed about a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of travel, which who cares, right? Got the relocation bracket for the fuse box. This is how I had to run my hoses and stuff like that. What I did to mount the glass is I trimmed the inner structure out of the old fender, and then took and cut it up, obviously, and then mounted my stock stuff back to it as much as I can. So I'm still starting the stock air box. I'm running the, I cut this. This was my overflow, or my radiator coolant tank that had the windshield wiper tank attached to it. So I cut that off. Actually, my buddy Sean did. I cut that off and then just stuffed it in here. Trusty bungee cord, and it worked. Had no problems. So you're gonna see like some zip ties and shit like that, and that's just because, guys, I was crunched for time, trying to get this done. Like I said, I was trying to win a bet, which, by the way, they still owe me money. Yeah, here's this is McNeil Racing's shock upper shock mounts, cross member. I got this at AutoZone. This was for the smog pump. You want to filter the air coming in. This is just the exhaust. So you want to make sure because you don't want to damage that thing, because it could smoke the belt if it locks up or whatever. So, but yeah, did pretty good. Here's the part I broke. I broke this tab off right here. You can kind of see how far off it was twisted, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna try to repair it. I'm gonna try to lay some aluminum in there. But these are 3.0 IBP bypass shocks, and then 2.5 bump cans, 2.5 by 2.5. So here's the fender. This is the only part that scrubbed in the rear, was right here, and that was because when we were going through some of the terrain, it was articulating. But as you can see, all the bolts, looks like this one spun a little bit, not too bad. But you want to stripe all your bolts, that way you can make sure everything's not coming apart and get loosening up on you. I accidentally forgot to tighten 2 bolts, the upper shock mounts, so that was my bad. But here's the steering. As you can see, everything turned out. Everything is still super dusty and dirty. Got caked pretty good. But like I said, you want to stripe all the bolts. Make sure, a little bit of power steering. See, I kept the stock cooler and I just zip tied it up. I didn't have time to do everything, you know, professionally. That's where I mounted my straps. But yeah, steering, highly sensitive. Definitely took some getting used to. Was not expecting it to be like that. That one move? Oh no, that one didn't move. But yeah, worked really good. The axles are from Curry. This is the 4.5 inch over extended beams by Cho. Another thing that Eisenhower did, Chris, is I bought a brand new set of rotors and brake calipers and everything, and I had him. So when you do the method wheels, you need to drill out the rims, because you're gonna run 5/8 studs. So I have a part number for those too. I'll try to gather as many part numbers as I can and put them down in the comment section, so you guys can kind of see what I spent and everything like that. So, but yeah, this cage too. This cage is from Ohhchofab. This is his 3/4 kit. Bolts right to the base of the truck. I didn't do this bolt yet, because you have to get all up in the business of the truck. But I kept everything pretty much. Show you another view. To fit a 37 in here, guys, unless you're going to pull the back seat out, you can lay it flat, but basically if you want to, I tried to keep my interior as stock as possible, so I stood it upright, and you know, that's why I mounted the 2 tie-down tabs on the cage part, and then just the subframe that I built that goes on the bottom side. That's what's holding everything down, and then I bolted that to the floor. So my interior, I didn't want to dick with my interior too much, because I wanted to kind of keep it looking original, I guess. But still need to get a center console. And oh wow, my compressor still works on the seat. Nice. Anyhow, I want to get a center console and everything with an iPad mount, because when we were down there, this is I bought this at an AutoZone in just as we were leaving San Quintin, and I stuck it to the window and it held my cell phone, and I ran lead nav. So yeah, also I'm gonna share that too. the lead nav map and everything on here as well. I'm gonna try to, so that way you get a basic map of everything. But yeah, kind of wanted to show you guys how everything turned out before I washed it. But yeah, it did really good. Let me show you guys a couple more things real quick in the back, so you can see the undercarriage. I think I need to set, when I get bump stops for the rear, I need to set them down a little bit. See, I didn't want the shocks to hang down too low because I didn't want these things to be, I wanted them to minimize the contact if I was to hit something. You know, these shocks aren't cheap, guys. You know, everybody knows that. So I kind of raised them up, and when I did, I think I only left myself like a quarter inch of shock exposed. But so I have a ton of droop, and it comes up pretty high, that's for sure. It looks like my vent line was hitting up at the top up there. So here's the back of the beams and everything. Oh, one thing, guys, I wanted to point out for sure is, so on your VSS right here, this guy, when you're putting that in, before you bolt it up to the back of the drive shaft right here, put your sensor in, because what'll happen is you'll get this all bolted up, and then your sensor, you can't get it in there, it won't fit, so you got to take it all back apart. So just a little tip, guys, save you guys about 2 hours of work, because you can only spin this damn nut on the back side right here. On the underside, you can only spin that a flat at a time. So as you can tell, my exhaust isn't done yet, it's just poking out right there. Still works bitching. Wasn't too loud or anything, but oh, the lady's home. So yeah, so that's the Bronco, guys. I want to jump back at her before she runs me over. There, you can park right here. So yep, gonna give her a bath and check some things out. You can see the alignment a little bit is towed in at the top, but when you give it gas and the weight comes off, it straightens out. Tires work really good. So pretty happy with it. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you guys have any more questions or anything like that, please feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I hope to see you guys out there this season out in Ocotillo Wells. I'll be out there bombing around Placer City, Superstition. But yeah, come say hi, and see you guys out there. See you.